Hello friends, welcome back to another episode of our I Do Work Here Lady. If you clicked on this video, thinking that people were mistaking customers as employees, this isn't the right video. In this episode, you're going to hear about people mistaking employees and company bosses as regular Joe Schmoes, and it's highly entertaining to hear them get put in their place. I hope you stay for all these stories today and subscribe for future videos. This one's titled, Power. Hungry employee doesn't know that I'm the owner. I once owned a computer store with one of my best friends. As we started to grow, we found it was becoming more and more difficult to handle the in-store repairs as well as the out-of-store work that we had coming in. We decided we needed someone for the front counter. Unfortunately, I went on vacation when my partner had hired this girl. Not that this was a problem, as we knew what we needed, and I knew he could find someone. When I returned from vacation, I had some out-of-town work that needed to be done with a high-dollar client. This work took another 2 weeks, so I had not had the chance to meet the new employee. The first day back just happened to be the same day my partner started his vacation. I walk in and said, "Hi, you must be Power mad." Daping cuts me off and said, "I don't care who you are. What can I help you with? I don't see you with a computer. What are you looking for?" "Excuse me. You should be. What do you need?" "I have a lot to do to open the store." "Sorry, but I don't think you understand who I am." She responded, "Well, Greg the boss is on vacation, so you're no one important." "Oh, really? You do know I could have you unemployed in 1 hour." Her response was, "Oh yeah, whatever. I personally know the owner. I doubt he'd fire me. I'll call him right now." I responded, "I doubt he'd want you to treat people like Kanohin, but yeah, that's a good idea actually. I'll call him." I pull out my cell phone and call my partner. I said to him, "Hey, I know you just started your vacation, dude, but I think we have an employee problem. PMB was very rude when I walked in this morning. I attempted to tell her who I was, but she wouldn't let me get that far. Yeah, can you over 1 sec?" I hand her the phone. I couldn't hear the conversation, however. I did ask him later, and here's what he said. My partner basically told her that he's tired of her holier than thou attitude, and if she doesn't change her attitudes towards people, she's not cut out to work in the store anymore. He also told her that she was basically a hand-da-peen to the other owner, and that he told her to pack up her stuff, and that she'd no longer be needed. So after she handed the phone back to me, here's the conversation. I asked my partner, "So you want me to work up some termination paperwork?" "Yeah. Let me know how that turns out. I'll see you in a week." I then turned to PMB and said, "Hey PMB, you get your paycheck Friday, correct?" She nods yes. "Awesome. I owe you about $5 for the 30 minutes he wasted today." I take 10 minutes to type up the reason for termination, all while she sits in a chair bawling like a 2-year-old. "Thanks. And don't let the door smack your ass on the way out." I walk over to the register, pull out a 5, and point her towards the door. We never saw her again. At it. It's become very clear from many comments, none of you have ever been a business owner. To each their own. Many things will happen in your life that when you tell someone else, they won't believe you. That's fine. If you don't believe, don't believe. That doesn't bother me. This story is titled, I Don't Just Work Here. This happened about a year ago, right after I opened 2 niche hobby shops. It's an incredibly male-dominated hobby. My typical clients are retired white dudes driving like Saudis in BMWs. I am a small, 30-year-old chick covered literally head to toe in tattoos. A customer walks in who's new to me. Apparently, he'd been there before, as I was out of the shop. One of my male managers helped him. He walks into my shop, and when I smile and greet him with a hi, "How are you?" he just kind of grunts at me. Okay? Whatever. Sometimes people just want to be left alone to browse. I stay on my computer finishing up some ordering and let him wander a bit. He's taking his time but clearly getting agitated. I ask if he's looking for anything in particular. He just looks at me. A pregnant pause, where I begin to wonder if I should speak up, when he finally breaks the silence. Not with a polite response, but with a gruff, "Where's your manager? I've been in retail for 15 years. I'm used to the people who don't remember their manners, but this question doesn't make me think. Oh, he's looking for my boss. It makes me think he's looking for one of my employees." I asked, "I'm the only one here today. What can I help you with?" "No. I want to speak to the man that's in charge." "I'll wait," he says in a very condescending way. I replied with, "Sir, I am in charge. What can I help you with?" "No, where's that man that helped me last weekend? He and I were discussing a project, and I want to speak with him directly, so I can tell him what I want ordered." This is where I start to get a little snippy. Yay for working for yourself. I was frustrated that he was speaking to me in such a tone, that he couldn't seem to understand that I am in charge. I again said to him, "Well, sir, I am in charge here. I do the ordering, so what do you need me to order?" The guy responds with, "He lets you do the ordering." "Sir, I can see we're not going to get anywhere. If you'd like to come back later, you're more than welcome. But considering you won't speak to me and would rather speak to a male employee, maybe it would be best to come back another time." Obviously, this enrages the entitled jerk, and he gets so red that I'm sure he'd pop at any second. He starts sputtering, and he takes a couple of steps towards me. I have a particular character flaw where I forget that I'm 5 feet tall, so I stand my ground. He demands my boss's phone number. Now I realized that maybe I wasn't clear enough. I start to say that I am the manager and I get cut off. Now, being ignored and interrupted are 2 of my biggest pet peeves, and this man has accomplished both in a relatively short amount of time. So I hand him a business card and walk off. He immediately calls the number, and my cell phone starts ringing, so I answer. I said, "Thank you for calling. You've reached T Store Name's owner," all while staring at him straight in the face. I'm petty as hell, and even this made me wonder if I'd gone too far. He stormed out, and I never saw him again. Still cracks me up when I remember his red, veiny face staring at me with wide eyes. This story's titled, Fastest Rise and Fall in Employment History. Fired before he can start over coffee. I was just made aware of this SOB a couple of hours ago. I don't remember the guy's name, but I do remember many of our local staff knowing him from the neighborhood. He came in and mentioned that John said to stop by for an interview. I had answered the door and took him to the office manager. We were a family-owned business and did everything face-to-face, not online. He comes in and meets my office manager. They have a conversation about past work experience, how he operates, etc. And I'm in the room, just up the steps, making a pot of coffee. I'm about 15 to 20 feet away from them, and I can hear everything. He's a little over the top, but I figured he was just trying to impress us. Our office had 3 floors. The top floor was an employee's break room, a kitchen, a shower, and 3 desks and workstations. The manager is happy with what he hears from the guy as far as work goes, tells him he's hired, and tells him to show up in the office and introduce him to everyone. Coffee was done. I called down to the manager because I knew he'd want a cup and offered the new guy one too. I get a cup, manager gets a cup, new guy gets a cup. The new guy pitches a fit because he doesn't like strong coffee. Pours his out in the sink, gets the pot, and poured that into the sink. Manager looks at me as if to ask which one of us should kill the guy. We are in a 24/7 operation, and we all love our coffee. It's our lifeblood, and we all make it the exact same way. In fact, it was the office manager that taught me how to make the coffee when I started drinking it. The new guy goes on a rant about how weaker coffee has more caffeine and how things are going to change, and he'll teach me the right way to do things. Note: lighter roasts of coffee are higher in caffeine. The longer you roast the coffee beans, the more caffeine burns off. How strong you brew your coffee is a matter of taste. I let him brew a pot, and it looked like lemonade. It had a yellow tint to it, and did not resemble any coffee I've ever seen. The new guy held it up to show us, and we could clearly see him through the pot. FYI, I don't care if that's what he liked. It was this condescending attitude that raised flags. He's no longer over the top. He's now obnoxious. The manager tells him he should probably shut up if he really wants the job. He brushes off the manager and then tells him that we'll learn a lot working with him. I said, "Wanna bet?" He took offense to my tone and laid into me. Ended with a, "Uthathida, heen are you?" My manager says, "He's the owner, so he's your boss." I looked at the manager and told him that he's half right. No way I want that guy working for me, and I fired him. He was literally hired and fired in less than 15 minutes. We talked about this guy for years. This story is titled, "I'm Not a Student, I'm Actually a Teach." Nope. Off to detention with you. Shout out to the people who were accused of being students when they had already graduated. I recently started out as a teacher. I was 27 when I had my first teaching job. Did some before, and of course, as a newbie, not everyone working at the school knew me. At the time, I look a bit younger than my age and usually wear a pair of jeans and a nice blouse or t-shirt. I was working there for a bit over a month when I was walking through the hallways of the school during class hours, picking up some paperwork and heading to the teacher's room, as they had a free period. An older man, I guess in his 40s, stopped me looking kind of angry. The unknown man said, "Excuse me, young lady, what do you think you're going? Why aren't you in class?" The hub. I'm actually not a student. Like hell you are. I've seen you walking around with the older kids. Go to your class immediately. Sir, I'm not really a student. but I'm actually a teacher. I'm new here, so you probably haven't seen me. But he interrupts and says, "Stop, you're lying. Go report to the office immediately. I'll make sure your parents hear of this. And don't think I won't be looking for you in detention tomorrow." I go to the office, as I needed to go there anyway, and my colleagues asked, "What happened to you?" I replied, "I got sent here because I was outside during class hours. Also, could you call my parents? Because that man expects me in detention tomorrow." My colleagues basically died of laughter right there. So they actually send me to detention the next day. You'll see why in a bit. I took some grading work with me. The man who sent me to detention was looking smug as got a pain when he saw me sitting in there. After a few minutes, one of my colleagues from the office came in, and, in the most theatrical voice you can imagine, introduced me as their new colleague. You should have seen the guy's face. It was priceless. For some reason, he never sat at my table during lunch. Hey friends. I hope you enjoyed hearing these stories today. If you didn't catch the last, I Do Work Here Lady episode, it's right here. I got you covered. See you guys in the next one. Oh, and subscribe if you haven't already.